Are we getting Khamzat versus Sean Strickland, or are we getting Nassourdine Imhoff and Sean Strickland? But hey, it's your boy DHP, and y'all know the rest, man. And hey, so I usually like to do the weekend recap like in the morning times in the afternoon, but today's been a little crazy day with errands and shit like that, so I'm doing it right now around like 6 o'clock in the evening, 7 o'clock in the evening. But this video won't be too long because I more so want to address a couple things that's been on my mind other than what we saw this weekend with the Sean Strickland fight. But yeah, to lead on into it, Khamzat. So I spoke about this before, and I said I was gonna explain a little bit more in further detail in this video with Khamzat possibly going up to like heavyweight. So Dana pretty much, he spoke about it, and basically he didn't allude to it, but he basically gave it a green light. So Alex Pereira, my man's chummer, is going up to heavyweight. It's more than likely that he's going up to heavyweight to fight Cyril Gane. Nothing is really concrete and confirmed, because the past week and a half, and you know, and even leading up Saturday to the Sean Strickland fight, a lot of niggas in the media been getting a lot of conflicting reports. You know, it was supposed to be Yuri Prochazka, Carlos Oberg, then it switched to Khamzat and Yuri Prochazka for the vacant light heavyweight strap, and now we sitting here on a Monday, a day removed from Sean Strickland just dominating the hell out of Fluffy. And I'm gonna put actually the tweet that's gonna be my thumbnail, the picture, Khamzat and Sean Strickland going at it. So it might be that Sean Strickland might have overjumped Nassourdine, but Nassourdine is staying silent. So there's a lot of shit at play. But Dana, to backtrack a little bit, Dana pretty much green light Alex Pereira going on the heavyweight, but then he wanted Khamzat to defend the belt at middleweight. And one of the things that was interesting on that note was, and I made a video about it, or I included in my video for those that be listening, Marty Usman said that Khamzat has a hard time but maintaining that middleweight weight, which I thought was very interesting, because I said that he was draining his body of welterweight, which is why he was having all these issues. Light heavyweight, he's going to be much heavier, and he might lose his speed a little bit, but he's still going to be that strong ass grappler, right? I feel like middleweight is kind of that happy medium where it might be still a little bit rough of a weight cut, but he's not going to damage his body that much, and he can still be that strong ass nigga that's going to be hard to defend, right? But apparently Khamzat having issues with it, and Khamzat said himself he was going to defend the belt once or twice and then go up to light heavyweight regardless. But Dana said that he wants to see Khamzat defend the belt. Now fast forward to where we sit today, right? So Sean Strickland, we all know, we just seen it, Sean Strickland dominated Fluffy. So now Sean pretty much put himself, especially with Khamzat as champ, he put himself back in title contention on some Max Holloway shit, basically, when, you know, Ilya destroyed Volk and Max is sitting right there. Sean is in that position now. He's back in title talks. But are we in a situation with Sean Strickland where, and I've said it, I wouldn't be surprised if it could go either way, because where we in today's UFC climate, they pretty much value what makes sense with the dollars and entertainment value more than what's on principle as far as like the rankings and the principle of the sport. Which I might gotta double back on the video, on the integrity video, because I made a video about the integrity of the UFC like a while ago. But I do have some new opinions on that, so I might gotta double back on that video. But it from where we standing right now, I still think Khamzat is gonna face Nassourdine Imhoff. He's gonna defend the belt against Nassourdine. But I would not be surprised if Sean Strickland, because who we got coming up? We got RDR and who? KO Barello. KO Barella and RDR is coming up, and then DDP, I said before, DDP got a fight coming up. I know a lot of niggas been posting his face on a milk carton, but I think DDP got it coming up. I said it in the other video. It's something about April. Like DDP is he's probably announcing his fight in April. So he got a fight coming up. Like, is Sean Strickland, unless Sean is gonna wait around and he's gonna be next for the shot, that's what I'm hoping is gonna be. Khamzat versus Nassourdine, and then Sean Strickland gets the winner of that. But in this new UFC climate for this generation, I would not be surprised if Sean jumps over Nassourdine Imhoff. Like let's be real. We low-key already seen it. We low-key already seen it with Diego Lopez and Volk. So, and who else was like that? Well, I mean, I guess I was gonna say Ilya and Islam, with them vacating the belt and immediately getting a title shot. But I can't really say that because that's been going on for a cool minute. But even with that, the old UFC ways, we did have a lot of like top contenders. We did have a lot of top contenders in the UFC. Even champions at one point go up a weight class and get like, they didn't automatically get a title shot at that new weight class. They just got like a high quality opponent in the top 3 and top 5. So I mean, you can include them, but I'm not gonna say fully that. But anyway, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Sean, especially, and like I said, I'm gonna put the picture of the tweet in the thumbnail, but the way they've been talking, Sean might really talk, and also the way Sean was able to beat Fluffy, like stay on the jab and just, he got a finish. It wasn't like how Sean was able to dominate and keep Paulo Costa at bay, or how he went out there, knocked down Izzy, and he was just able to outbox Izzy and out kickbox Izzy. It wasn't like that. He was systematically, technically breaking Fluffy down with just a jab and a couple T-kicks. Then he stunned Fluffy with a knee to the body and hurt him and rocked him. And then, he went on a huge fight for the finish, huge striking combinations, and then finished them off with TKO strikes. And it's the fact that he did all that in a domination form, plus the way that he's talking. I mean, I'm not saying it's right, but it's hard to say that Nassourdine lost his title shot to that. Especially to like the casuals. And when you think about it in this sense, like I said, with the new UFC climate, this generation is more of a UFC recency bias thing. So hold on, let me see who was that. Okay, just want to make sure, see who was that behind me, or that was coming up. But anyway, this UFC climate is more of a recency bias. This is what have you done for me lately. It's not far off to say Nassourdine lost his title shot to Sean Strickland after what we just witnessed. But and then also the Khamzat's point of view, get back to Khamzat, like, if he was to vacate the belt, then it's definitely Nassourdine and Sean Strickland. But it seemed like Khamzat, from all indication and purposes, it seemed like Khamzat is not. We're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see, because there's a lot of shit out in the media right now, and it's kind of like I haven't really posted into my stories and shit like that. But I just been sitting back and I just like, you know what? They saying one thing and they turn around and saying another thing. So I'm like, at this point, I'm gonna just wait and see for the actual confirmation. Once we see it on, you know, ESPN MMA, or I get the DM and see that announcement is coming within an hour, then I'm like, okay, that's when I'm gonna prepare myself to make a video and start talking about the shit. But we gonna see what we gonna see what's gonna happen. We gonna see what's gonna happen, because there's a lot of shit in the play right now. There's a lot of shit to play. It's 50-50. Khamzat go up to light heavyweight and fight for a light heavyweight, the vacant title. But then also you got Carlos Oberg talking about he's gotten a fight booking soon. Then you got Yuri Prohaska, but Yuri Prohaska is in the fucking mountains climbing and shit. So it's a lot of shit. Me personally, I think Khamzat is gonna stay, and it's probably gonna be either him and Sean Strickland, or him and Nassourdine Imhoff. Realistically, it should be Khamzat and Nassourdine. That shit, when Nassourdine did what he did and beat Caio Borrello, that should have solidified his spot. Because Caio Borrello, even though at that time Caio, ranking wise, he was there, but he wasn't there. But at that time of that fight booking, one of those two was gonna fight for the, because ranking wise, where everybody was at, and then you had DDP, and then Sean Strickland was on suspension and shit like that. It was lined up for them too, especially with RDR losing to Brendan Allen. It was lining up just to be who wins out of KO and Nassourdine Imhoff, and Nassourdine came out as the winner. So by default, plus Nassourdine was already second rank at that time. So Nassourdine, with him winning, just solidified his spot, my personal opinion. But now Sean Strickland, he's off his suspension, gets a fight book against Fluffy Hernandez. Now here we are, a day after the fight, and Sean go out there with a dominant fashion. I mean, we gonna see. There's a lot of it's honestly it's more, how can I say this? It's more complicated than what it should be, because it should be simple. It's Khamzat and Nassourdine, but y'all gotta think, and I know I've been saying it over and over like a broken record in this video, but I'm thinking in a way where I'm looking at the new UFC in this generation. Like, if this was the old UFC, like, my birthday was a couple days ago, right? So now, as we sit here today, I'm 30 years old. Me growing up watching the UFC as a little jit, then going into my teenage years, and now and then into my young adulthood life through 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. Now, you know, I just approached a 30 in the 2020s. Here in 2026, I'm 30 years old. Me growing up and shit like that with the UFC, the old UFC, it was based on principle of the sport and the rankings. Then it definitely would be Khamzat, even with Sean Strickland doing what he did this past weekend. And then even with DDP, when DDP gets his fight booking and DDP goes on a dominant, and he wins dominantly in his fight, it don't matter what happens with those fights. And Sean Strickland this past weekend, Nassourdine is the #1 clear-cut contender. But I have a new way of thinking, of not agreeing with it, but accepting the fact that this is not the UFC I grew up loving and watching. And not to say that I'm falling off with the UFC. I'm just saying, in a perspective mind where I know what's right on principle with the UFC, but this is not that UFC. This is a new UFC where it's it's based on money. And I mean, combat sports in general is always about money fights, but there was a time and place for big time money fights and skipping the line on some shit. Now it's like, it's automatic. Like, you know what I mean? So we in a time where it's all about money and entertainment factor. Which is why some of these niggas that's getting released from the UFC now, like John Almeida, Alex Moreno. Like, there's a lot of niggas that's getting released from the UFC, like, recently, because they're, and it's not even based off because they're losing, because if it's based on them niggas losing, then Tai Tuivasa needs to go. But not only is Tai Tuivasa a huge fan favorite, he's also an entertaining fighter, so they're gonna keep him on board. But a lot of other niggas around, they gonna get got. You know what I mean? They're gonna be forced to fight in other promotions. But that's where we at in the UFC. So, dang, I rambled too long with this Khamzat situation. But it needs to be said because it should be, before I go on to the next topic, because I'm already too long-winded with this. Before, it should be Khamzat, Nassourdine, Imov, but do not be surprised if it's Sean and Khamzat. And for some odd reason, if things change at the last minute, like on some, when JDM beat Belal and Islam jumped and then Ilya jumped, it would probably be Nassourdine and Sean Strickland. Hold on for a minute. Excuse me. Either way, Sean Strickland, I feel, is next for a title shot. Either way. But that's that. One thing, and so another thing I want to discuss. Matter of fact, I may make a separate video. There's a topic I want to talk about, but I'm gonna make a separate video on it tomorrow. And actually, I'm gonna do that tomorrow. Conor McGregor. So, last thing I'm gonna talk about in this video before I get on the fucking on out of here. Let me turn my lights off for a minute. Turn it back on. I'll turn it back on. Fuck it. Conor McGregor. Apparently, he had a fight contract. He's waiting for everything to be signed or whatever. Then he spoke again, saying they didn't get the fight contract or whatever. Niggas trying to piece together. He said he's fighting a no-name, but it seemed like Conor might get one of these new generation welterweight prospects. Not prospects, but the new welterweight contenders. I was thinking maybe Conor or Jorge Masvidal. You know, Masvidal, because he has peak interest in fighting the white card, whatever. Nate Diaz say he wants to return or whatever. So I'm thinking they might do Conor. And tell you the truth, it might be one of those, because you know how Conor is. Conor, the nigga, you could be John Jones and Conor still gonna say some slick shit to you or about you. So, but the media, because UFC, you know how the UFC media is. The media is piecing together that it's Carlos Paredes. We gonna see who it actually is when they announce. I don't understand what's taking so long to announce the White House card. Like, Dana and them, they said it's done, but it's just, I don't know, bro. I'm ready, honestly, and I might just go off a little rant right here, but I'm ready for this White House shit to be over. Because all this, it's a whole bunch of bullshit with, like, the politics, and then, you know, who's want to be on it, you know, and shit like that. And then Dana and them, they talking about they in conversations, getting the fights made and shit like that. And then now they saying, you know, Dana saying the fights has already been made, the card has already been made. Conor McGregor coming out saying send the fucking fight contract, whatever. And it's like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? Like, just come out and say who the fuck is on this card and shit like that. And, you know, what's going on? What's going on with all the secrecy and shit like that? Why they can't come out and say who's on the card right now? Because I was expecting some announcement. Because the way they was talking, they was saying, like, we were supposed to get some announcement, like, last week type shit, you know? We in a whole nother week my birthday done passed and everything, and we about to head to March. And because if you really think about it, I said it on my last video, we're like 4 months away. 4 months away to the White House card in June. And if you want to talk about how fast the year is going, we already in the second month of the year, and we're like 1 week away from the new month. The third month of the year. The year is already going by a little fast. So it seemed like yesterday we just seen fucking Volk and Diego Lopez 3. I mean, not Volk and Diego Lopez 3. I'm tripping. It seemed like just yesterday we just seen Justin Gaethje and Patty's card, and then, you know, 325 with Volk and Diego Lopez 2. And now here we are in the end of February going to March. So it's like, before you know it, it is going to be time for the White House card. So what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? But yeah, that's why I want to talk about Conor. It seemed like Conor is actually serious this time. So that's, and I know I said on my other platform like last year and 2 years ago, I wasn't going to talk about Conor until he was really serious about coming back to fight. So it looks like he's actually serious. Is actually something on the table. So we'll see where it go from here. But there's another thing I want to talk about too, but I'm gonna address that tomorrow in a separate video, cause yeah, it got to be addressed, cause I feel like the MMA fans. The MMA fans of today, it's borderline kind of like WWE fans. And not only WWE fans, but every other sports fans. Because I feel like sports fans in this generation is just, there's something wrong with niggas, bro. And maybe it's just me getting older and I'm starting to see shit in a different light. But I don't remember sports fans in general being like this. But anyway, this is my little weekend recap. I'm pretty sure there's some other news that's gonna go around after I publish this, and maybe tomorrow. So yeah, man, that's all I got for y'all niggas today. Until my next video tomorrow, I'll let y'all niggas later, man.